After 4 heartwarming years, she discovered his incredible deceit. The unexpected truth exposed. The sun dipped low over Maplewood, casting a golden hue across the town square, where laughter mingled with the aroma of freshly baked pies. Sarah sat on her porch, watching Emily twirl in a swirl of sunshine and joy. She felt a flicker of peace. After years of heartbreak, she had Jason, the compassionate veteran who had been her rock. Yet in that blissful moment came that lingering whisper of unease. For 4 years, Sarah had woven a life rich with memories, love, and community. Neighbors would often drop by, sharing stories and passing homemade flowers from their gardens. Friendly chats at block parties filled her heart, as did the tender moments spent tucking Emily into bed. Laughter echoed in the halls of the hospital where Sarah poured her spirit into caring for the weary and elderly, believing that love could heal even the deepest wounds. Jason stood beside her, reassuring in presence and quick to smile. Yet a shadow lingered behind those eyes. On a quiet night, while cleaning the attic, Sarah discovered an old newspaper clipping tucked among some forgotten boxes. The headline stood out glaringly: "Mysterious Man, found living under assumed identity." Confusion crashed over her like a wave. Her heart raced, each beat echoing the devastation of betrayal. Jason. Living a lie. The very foundation of love, trust, and dreams shattered in an instant, leaving her breathless. Her thoughts spiraled. Memories of hand-holding, laughter, and intimate talks transformed into questions. Had everything been a facade? Whispers coursed through town as stories started to spring up about Jason. The community she loved became a cauldron of scandal, creating ripples of judgment and eyebrow-raising murmurs. "That man's trouble," one neighbor grumbled on the front lawn, words edged with indignation. "Can't trust a soul these days," echoed another, shaking her head. Sarah felt that push and pull between rage and compassion. She had to decide. Could she turn a blind eye to the man who held her heart? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As days passed painfully slow, Sarah wrestled with thoughts of loyalty and the safety of her daughter. Would helping Jason push her family into chaos? She felt like a fighter in a ring, each round bringing new challenges, the stakes climbing higher. Then one evening, the world twisted again. Jason stood at her doorstep, looking lost yet resolute. Beneath the heavy silence, emotions pulsed. He reached for her hand, staring earnestly as if to peel back the layers of his hidden past, daring to confront the truth that could change everything. Torn between love's warm promise and the fear of the unknown, Sarah's heart raced. Would she dare open that door of trust once more? The weight of the decision pressed down on her. Could forgiveness be the spark that reignited hope in their fragile world? Sarah stood frozen, hand at the doorknob, her heart pounding like a wild drum. Jason's gaze held hers, a mixture of regret and determination swirling within those deep-set eyes. She felt a warmth in her chest aching for what could be, but also a chill creeping in, whispering warnings. "I know what you found," Jason finally breathed, his voice trembling with raw vulnerability. "I never meant for you to see that. I should have told you. I wanted to protect you, protect her." Those were sweet words but wrapped in a sticky web of deceit. Hadn't he unintentionally put her in danger, exposing their family to gossip and mistrust? Her mind was a battlefield, emotions flaring between love, anger, and fear. "Protect me from what?" Sarah challenged, surprising herself with the fire in her voice. "By lying to me? By being someone you're not?" His shoulders drooped as if her words physically pinned him down. "You have to believe me. I'm still the same man who fell in love with you. This identity was a lie created out of fear, not malice. I never wanted it to come to this." The world outside seemed to dim while they stood locked in an emotional duel. Jason's honesty clashed with the betrayal that pierced Sarah's heart. She felt the pull of history, the laughter, the late-night talks, all the little moments that built their life together. Yet there loomed this suffocating truth that she could no longer ignore. Her breathing hitched. "Then help me understand," she said, voice softer now, reaching for that glimmer of hope buried deep inside. "Tell me everything." Jason closed his eyes briefly, bracing himself, and began to recount the tale. He spoke of a troubled past, mistakes he made as a young man, the shadows following him so closely that he felt he had no choice but to adopt a new identity. The man he claimed to be was a gift, he explained, a chance for redemption, a chance to be better. But as he spoke, Sarah felt an ache open within her. The reason sounded so right, so justifiable even. Yet, did that erase the hurt that came with the lie? Every moment that felt so pure now felt tainted, and she struggled with that realization. Emily's laughter rang out from the backyard, a reminder of their sweet little girl who had blossomed in a haven that now felt vulnerable. Would she be safer realizing the full truth, or swallowing a bitter pill of denial? Jason reached out again, his fingers lingering just above her palm. "I love you, Sarah. I know I've hurt you, but can we build something real from this? Can we face it together?" As his soul bared its weight in front of her, Sarah looked toward the setting sun, shadows dancing in her memories. Torn between the desire to forgive and the knowledge that such forgiveness could change everything, she searched for the light of clarity. Could her heart stretch enough to embrace both the man she loved and the truth that threatened to tear them apart? Just as she opened her mouth to respond, her phone buzzed violently against the wooden table. Startled, both of them turned their heads in unison. It was a text from her closest friend, and the words flashed like an urgent signal. "Have you seen the news?" Every trace of softness fled Sarah's body. "What news?" she demanded, panic rising. Jason's expression shifted. Uncertainty replaced his previous resolve. In that very moment, she realized that the answers she sought might be harder to grasp than she'd ever expected. What shocking revelation awaited her on that screen? Sarah's heart raced as she snatched her phone from the table, the screen glaring at her like a spotlight. Jason stepped back, confusion etched across his features. "What does it say?" he asked, but his voice felt distant, almost muffled, as if the world around them had dimmed to a whisper. She squinted at the bright words, her mind buzzing with dread. The headlines flashed by in bold letters. "Local dad exposed, the man behind the mask." Each word felt like a stone dropped into a still pond, rippling out to disturb everything she thought she knew. Her voice trembled. "I can't. This can't be happening." A click of the article opened, revealing an image of Jason from a recent event. The caption was a gut punch. "A respected community member or a dangerous imposter? What lies behind his charming smile?" Jason moved closer, peering over her shoulder. "Sarah, let me explain. Please." His voice was desperate, laced with a mix of pleading and fear. She felt a crack forming in her resolve. "Explain? How do you explain this?" Her finger hovered above the screen, rage and betrayal writ large in her heart. "This isn't just about us anymore. This is everywhere. Emily could see it, the neighbors." He reached out again, but she flinched away. The shame and confusion swirled in her mind like a storm. "What do you want to do? Do you want to run? Hide?" She shot back, her temper boiling. "No!" Panic flickered across his face. "I want to fix this, to show you that I can be trusted." "Trusted?" The word hung in the air, thick and heavy. "You've been lying, Jason. How can I trust anything you say now?" The hurt in her voice cut deeper than she intended. He took a shaky breath, retreating into himself. "I never meant for any of this to come out. You have to understand. I was trying to be a better man, a better father to Emily. But at what cost?" She felt like she was shouting through a glass wall, battling against the real emotions flooding her. The sense of safety she once felt was crumbling under the weight of revelations and lies. Outside, evening descended. wrapping the yard in a cloak of darkness that mirrored her heart. "Let me just—" Jason's words faltered as he searched for clarity. "We can take control of this narrative. If we work together." "You don't get it," she cried, voice breaking. "It's too late for that. You didn't just lie to me. You lied to an entire community. You built a life on foundations of sand, and now we're standing on the edge of a cliff." The sound of Emily's laughter drifted in like an echo from a happier time, pulling at her heartstrings. But part of her was screaming for the truth, for authenticity, even if it was painful. She ran a hand through her hair, overwhelmed. "Sarah, please. I swear I've changed. I just wanted to protect you, to protect us." As his voice softened, it cracked through her defenses for a split second. But reality crashed in, drowning the hope that flickered in the back of her mind. "Protect us," she whispered, eyes glistening with tears. "You don't know what danger you've put us in. The news, it shows our lives in a wreckage. Everyone is going to talk." Jason stepped back, his shoulders slumping in defeat. "So what do we do now?" The question hung heavily between them, a chasm that felt too wide to cross. Sarah's gaze dropped to the phone, her fingers still hovering over the screen. What more did the article reveal? Should she dive into the storm of community judgment, take her daughter and run? Or should they confront this truth together, no matter how ugly? As she stood poised on the brink of a decision, the urge to know more poured through her veins. Maybe the whole truth would empower her. With resolve, she looked up at Jason. "Let's see what else they say. And we'll face it together. But know this, if you've hidden more, I'm not sure how much longer I can stay." His eyes widened, tears pooling there like rain collecting in a storm drain. "I'll do everything to make it right. But Sarah, I need you to trust me." She knew trust was fragile, easily shattered. The walls she had built were trembling. Could they find common ground amidst the chaos? Or would this deception ultimately drive them apart? The tension crackled in the air as Sarah scrolled for answers, each new revelation gripping her heart with fresh terror. The future loomed ahead, an uncertain path shrouded in shadows, waiting to reveal the next truth that could tear them apart or bind them together in ways they never imagined. What would this next chapter of their lives reveal? The screen flickered with each scroll, throwing bits of light onto their faces, both tense and strained. Sarah's stomach twisted as she read on, her breath catching in her throat with every line. The headlines morphed before her, each one more damaging than the last. Questions and accusations filled the air like a thick fog. "Do you really expect people to believe you? After everything?" came a line that struck like an arrow, puncturing Jason's last shred of composure. It was almost comical how quickly the truth twisted into misrepresentation under the scrutiny of the public eye. "I know how it looks," Jason whispered, a hint of desperation clinging to his voice. "But please, this isn't the whole story. I was trying to protect my past for Emily's sake." "What past, Jason?" she demanded, the confusion mixed with anger burning hot in her chest. "The one that gives you a facade to hide behind? Or the one that puts us all at risk?" She glanced at the photo of him smiling, arm around another man who seemed far less innocent. A mugshot splashed next to his image, providing context that was even harder to swallow. He dropped his gaze to the ground, a defeated man among the rubble of his own making. "I thought if I could show people I was changed, that I was worth trusting, they might let the past go." Sarah clenched her fists, an ache in her heart churning with each word he spoke. It was a flimsy argument, built on wishful thinking. "But did you ever think about how it affects me and Emily? About the damage could do when the truth finally came out?" Jason opened his mouth as if to respond, but lost his words, the gravity of their situation pressing down on him heavily. "I thought I could shield you both. I didn't expect this to spin out of control." "Spin out of control? Jason, this isn't a hurricane. This is your life. Our lives." Her frustration bubbled over, the reality of their situation wrapping around her like a shroud. "People will pick apart everything we've built, everything you've built. Don't you see what they'll say?" A glimmer of fear flitted across his face. "What they say doesn't matter. What matters is what we do now. There was a flicker of determination starting to appear behind his eyes. I need you to help me craft the truth. We can face this together, as a team, like we always promised. Her heart ached at his resolve, yet doubt gnawed at her insides. The trust that had once been their strongest bond seemed as fragile as the phone in her hands. But how? How can I stand beside you when I don't even know who you really are? He stepped forward again, this time moving slowly like approaching a wild animal. Let me show you. I'll pull together everything, letters, testimonies, the full picture. I'll lay it all out. You'll see this is more than just a story. It's about growth, redemption. Redemption! The word tasted bitter in her mouth. Do you know how many families you've hurt while trying to gather yours? This isn't just about us. I know, he murmured, shoulders sagging as if the world rested on them. But we can make it right. I'll prove to you, to your neighbors, to Emily, that I can be the person I've pretended to be. Pretended? Jason's brow furrowed and he clenched his fists. I was working to become that man. I can be better, if only you can see it. Let's do this together. The uncertainty hung in the air like a fog, thick and unyielding. But part of Sarah wanted to believe him. Maybe this could be a chance, a painful, bumpy path to healing. Was there still hope in the wreckage of the lie? But as she opened her mouth to respond, Jason's phone buzzed loudly from his pocket, jolting her from her thoughts. Eyes wide, they both turned as he took it out. The screen was flooded with messages. Each notification felt like a reflection of their past, crashing into the present. What is it? She asked, a sense of dread creeping up her spine. Jason's face paled as his thumb hovered over the screen. It's the local news. They've got a follow-up piece. About us. Fear gripped her heart. They weren't done yet. The storm was only beginning, and how they faced it could change everything. Sarah, he said, voice trembling again. We need to be ready for the fallout. She held her breath, knowing a tidal wave of truth was about to crash over them. Would they drown together, or could they rise above it? What awaited them in the unfolding story? The buzzing increased, a relentless drumbeat that echoed their tension. Jason glanced back at the screen, swiping furiously as if trying to dismiss the storm of notifications. There's more. His voice was barely a whisper, almost lost against the cacophony of uncertainty ringing in Sarah's ears. Sarah felt her heart race, pounding in response to the fear pooling in her chest. More? She asked, desperation creeping into her tone. What now? They're saying... He inhaled sharply, the color draining from his face. That I've been hiding something bigger, that there's more fallout to come. It's about Emily's father. She flinched at those words like a slap in the face. What do you mean? My dad? Confusion and panic wove together inside her. He's not involved, Jason. This isn't about him. Jason's eyes were wide, searching for a window of understanding. I don't know what they have, Sarah, but this could destroy everything, not just us. What if they find something? A wave of fury mixed with fear surged through Sarah. You should have thought about this before. You should have thought of Emily. You should have... I know! Jason shot back, frustration spilling over. But we have to act now. Stop this before it spirals out of control. If we don't... We don't even talk about this? You lied to my face, Jason. Sarah interrupted, her voice rising. You kept me in the dark while you built this lie. And now, the only thing left is for us to play damage control? With the anger came tears, blurring her vision. She was angry, hurt, and scared all at once, pressured by memories of their joyful moments together that now seemed tainted. What use was a team if one partner was living a deception? Sarah, please, he pleaded, stepping closer, voice low. We can fix this. Just trust me one more time. You have to see this as our chance. A chance to shed the past and build something new. New? How can we build anything when it feels like everything is collapsing? I don't even know what you truly are anymore. The words cut through the air like a knife. The weight of disappointment settled between them, heavy as lead. They both knew it could bring more than just shame. It was starting to pull at the delicate fabric of their family. What are we supposed to do? She asked finally, her voice breaking. Let's go to the news station, face them head on, but I need your support. He reached for her hand, but she hesitated, guilt gnawing at her. What if you crash and burn, Jason? What if what they say is true? What if there's no redemption for what you've done? I can't change the past, but I can share my truth, he said, determination sparking in his eyes. And I promise, I'll make things right. Just stand with me. His plea hung in the air, a lifeline extended into the chaos that had become their lives. The screen lit up with another notification, pulling her attention back. Another voice, another accusation. She could feel sweat on her palms as she considered the weight of giving him her answer. I wish things were different, Sarah whispered, eyes darting between his pleading gaze and the buzzing phone. But I don't know if I can trust you. In that moment, Sarah faced a choice, a leap into the unknown or a retreat into familiarity, even if that meant accepting a life of lies. Jason's desperation hung palpable in the air like thunder before a storm. But Sarah thought of Emily. How did they protect her from the truth? With every second, the tide of emotions rose higher, threatening to drown them. Could they weather this storm together? Or was this truly the beginning of the end? Sarah, what are you going to do? Jason asked, breaking through her swirling thoughts. She took a steadying breath. I have to decide whether to fight for you, or for Emily. As the world outside their home spiraled into chaos, a choice loomed, one that could reshape them forever. What will you choose? The silence that followed Sarah's words felt thunderous, hanging between them like an invisible wall. Jason's expression shifted, merging worry with a flicker of hope. Please, he urged, desperation woven into his plea. We need to face this. Together. But a part of her recoiled at the thought of together. For 4 years they had built a life, yet it felt like a fragile house of cards now, ready to crumble at the slightest breath of wind. The thought of Emily, her sweet, innocent daughter, made the decision even heavier to bear. Could she expose her to the ugliness of adult secrets, or could they shield her from this storm? Don't you see? Jason pressed, taking a step closer. We can protect Emily from the fallout if we tackle this now, before it spirals. The buzzing of the notifications had slowed but left behind a daunting echo. Knowing his involvement in whatever was brewing made her stomach churn. But at what cost, Jason? What happens when the truth comes to light? You think facing the media will just make it all go away? Better to confront it than let it grow, he insisted, urgency bubbling beneath his calm facade. If they spread lies, it tarnishes all of us. Your father could bear the brunt of it, and I can't let that happen. He should never be involved in this, Sarah shot back, vibrant anger flowing through her veins like fire. How can I stand by you when you've already dragged my family into this mess? The hurt in her voice stung him, and for a moment he looked as if he were about to break. I never wanted this for you, Sarah. I thought I could keep it all separate. Protect you. Protect Emily. By lying? Her voice cracked, a mix of fury and pain pouring through her words. That's not protection. The anger simmered down as exhaustion took over. Sarah slumped against the wall, tears pooling in her eyes. Jason felt the ground beneath him shifting, fear creeping in. Just give me a shot, he murmured, hope flooding his tone. Let me show you how I can fix this. Give me tomorrow at the station. If we push back together, they might listen. Sarah wiped the tears from her cheeks and closed her eyes. Her heart was duplicitous, betraying her thoughts of loyalty and distrust all at once. And if they don't listen? Then we stand tall and face whatever is thrown at us, Jason answered, deep resolve evident in his voice. But I can't do it without you. It was a gamble, a dark leap into chaos. But wasn't that the essence of love? How it blurs the lines between right and wrong? As Sarah contemplated, a flicker of memory ignited. The small moments of their family laughter, late-night chats, the way Emily's eyes sparkled with pure joy. Tomorrow, she whispered, feeling the weight of the word. But I need to know everything first. No more lies, Jason. His breath caught. The plea between them felt tangible, wrapping around their hands like a silent promise. I'll tell you everything, he vowed, steeling himself for the task. Gazing into her eyes, he felt the gravity of the moment sweep him away. We'll figure this out together, he assured, even as doubt shadowed his features. But as they stood there, uncertainty loomed like a dark cloud. What truth would surface, and could they handle the ramifications? With every tick of the clock, pressure mounted. What awaited them on the morrow? What if instead of a fight for salvation, it became a battle for their souls? Can we really survive this? Sarah questioned softly, not sure if she was speaking of their relationship or the truth lurking just beyond the horizon. Jason held her gaze, both resolute and trembling inside. Let's find out together. And as they faced the evening shadows stretching long and heavy, the question lingered in the air, pulsing with urgency. How far would they go to shield the ones they love from the truth? The morning sun peeked through the curtains, casting a warm glow across the room. Sarah lay there, heart racing, tangled in sheets and doubt. Today was the day they would confront the truth. It felt monumental, like standing on the precipice of a vast canyon. One misstep and they could tumble into an abyss of consequences. She rose, the smell of coffee drifting through the house grounding her. Jason was already up, his back to her, absorbed in making breakfast. The sight of him, so familiar yet so distant, was jarring. She wanted to see the warmth in his gaze again, the love they had built. But could love survive when wrapped in lies? Morning, he said, turning with a soft smile that faded when he saw her expression. You okay? She nodded, forcing a smile. Just a bit. Anxious, I guess. Me too, he admitted, running a hand through his hair. I hope we can clear this up. The words felt like thin ice beneath her feet. What if we can't, Jason? He paused, staring at the eggs in the pan. We will. I swear. They ate in silence, the clinking of utensils punctuating the heavy atmosphere. Sarah's mind raced through the possibilities. What would the world say? How would they hold Emily's innocent little heart in the middle of a storm? After breakfast, they both dressed purposefully, but there was an unspoken tension, a knot in Sarah's chest that tightened with every minute closer to their impending confrontation. Are you ready? Jason asked as they stood at the door. No, she replied honestly. But there's no choice, right? No choice, he echoed solemnly. They walked out into the crisp morning air together, a united front against an uncertain future. Arriving at the station felt surreal. A crowd had gathered, reporters milling about like vultures, their cameras aimed with precision, waiting for a hint of drama. Opening the door felt like stepping into a battlefield. Every face turned to them, every lens focused, ready to capture what might come next. Sarah's heart raced as they took a deep breath and approached the podium. The weight of the eyes on them sent shivers down her spine. She glanced at Jason. There was determination etched into his features. Was that enough to carry them through? Thank you all for coming, he began, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. We are here to address the misinformation circulating regarding our family. Watching him speak, something inside Sarah shifted. The truth wasn't just about unraveling lies. It was about reclaiming their story, their narrative as a family. She took his hand, grounding herself in the moment, amplifying their connection. But as he continued to speak, she noticed the disdainful expressions of those who had gathered, the murmurs escalating into a full roar of speculative chatter. Jason, someone shouted from the back, the challenge ringing sharp. Is it true? Did you lie to Sarah? Did you betray her? Her heart stopped. The truth felt exposed, raw in its vulnerability. Jason's grip tightened around her hand. I made mistakes, he replied, voice echoing through the tension. But I've never stopped loving my family, and that will never change. As he droned on, the tumult inside of her swelled. Each question seemed like a dagger, meant to pierce the already frayed edges of their relationship. She wanted to speak, to intervene, but fear paralyzed her. What would she say? How could she defend him when uncertainty clawed at her thoughts? And just then, a figure pushed through the crowd. A woman stood there with a determined look, eyes locked onto Jason. A flash of recognition pulsed through Sarah. Who was she? Why did the woman look so familiar? "Stop the lies!" the woman shouted, her voice seemingly cutting through the din. "I have the truth." The air thickened like honey, heavy with tension and unyielding suspense. Sarah felt her stomach drop. What could this woman reveal? Jason's expression shifted from confusion to panic. "What do you mean?" His voice was taut, eyes wide with dread. As the crowd murmured restlessly, Sarah felt dread wash over her. What was about to unfold would unravel everything. Would it lead them closer to the truth they sought, or would it drive a wedge deeper into their already fragile lives? The murmurs turned to gasps. Every eye turned toward the woman. What would she say? "Just tell me," Sarah breathed, fear and hope waging war inside her. Would this be the start of recovery, or the beginning of their end? The woman stepped forward, her voice strong against the noise. "My name is Claire. I was there. I saw everything." The crowd gasped, anticipation swelling as they leaned in closer, their cameras ready to capture the unfolding drama. Jason glanced at Sarah, his eyes a mix of panic and pleading. "You shouldn't be here, Claire. This isn't the time." "Maybe it's exactly the right time," she shot back. "You've been lying to Sarah for too long. She deserves the truth." Sarah's pulse quickened. "What do you mean?" she asked, her throat dry. The room felt electric, the collective breath of the crowd hanging in suspense. Claire took a deep breath, steeling herself as she squared her shoulders. "I'm here to talk about the accident, the one that changed everything for your family." Jason flinched, his face pale. "No, Claire. Not here." But Claire pressed on, her words spilling out like water breaking through a dam. "I know about what happened in the moments leading up to it. You weren't the only one there, Jason. And it's time Sarah knows the whole story." Each word hit Sarah like a wave, washing over her doubt and fear. It felt like the ground beneath her shifted. What accident? What story? Claire paused, searching for the right words. "I watched you. I was supposed to warn you, but I froze. I just watched everything happen." Jason clenched his jaw, his fists tightening around the podium. "This isn't about you. Stop it, Claire." "But it is," she insisted, her voice rising with urgency. "You've been protecting yourself, hiding the truth about someone else who was involved, someone who needs to be known." Tears stung Sarah's eyes as the pieces started to come together. The whispers, the mistrust, the regret. It all hung heavy in the air. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" she asked Jason, her voice trembling. "What else are you hiding?" Jason's eyes darted to the crowd and he took a step closer to Sarah, desperation etched into his features. "I never meant for you to find out like this. I thought I could shield you from the pain." But Claire shook her head. "You can't shield her from the truth, Jason. Lying only makes it worse." "Please," Jason pleaded, but his tone carried a sense of defeat. "Let's keep this private. It doesn't need to be out here." The crowd around them buzzed with excitement, as if witnessing a live-action reality show. Sarah felt exposed, raw. "You chose secrets over me, over our family. You didn't trust me," she whispered, horror mingling with heartbreak. "I do trust you," he insisted, but the conviction in his voice felt weak, and doubt settled like a thick fog in the pit of her stomach. Claire stepped closer, unwavering. "She deserves more than your silence. We all do. The truth. Real healing starts with it." Sarah blinked, battling emotions that threatened to overwhelm her. Did she want to hear more? What exactly was remaining in the shadows? As the crowd murmured anxiously, Sarah's gaze bounced between Claire and Jason. A tight knot of fear and curiosity twisted in her stomach. The urge to know pulled at her, even as she feared the potential fallout. Jason's eyes pleaded with hers, though the love hinting within was now shadowed by uncertainty. "Sarah, I can explain everything. Just give me a moment." Moments are all we have left, Claire interjected, her tone steady. Things are about to change, and the truth needs to come out. Sarah met Claire's fierce gaze, and for the first time that day, she felt a flicker of determination rise within her. "What are you saying?" she demanded, wanting clarity. "What specifically happened?" The crowd seemed to hold its breath, eager for answers. The tension wrapped around them like a suffocating vice. The truth seemed tantalizingly close, yet shrouded in mystery. What would it take to move past the betrayals? Could family ties endure when layered in heartbreak? Just then, Claire locked eyes with her and said one final, heart-stopping sentence that echoed through the crowd. "It's about the night that unraveled everything. And who was really at fault for what happened to Emily?" A gasp rose from the crowd, and Sarah felt her foundation shift once more. Not only were secrets being revealed, but the weight of the past was about to come crashing down on them all. Would the truth bring healing, or would it tear everything apart? The silence that followed was deafening, and Sarah's heart raced with the realization that she was on the verge of uncovering a truth that would change them forever. The silence hung thick in the air. Claire's words echoed, hauntingly distinct amid the crowd's murmurs. Sarah's heart thudded in her chest as she gripped the podium, searching for something, anything, to steady her racing thoughts. Emily. The name rang out like a bell, marking a painful chapter in their lives, one that Jason had buried under layers of denial and white lies. Jason's face twisted with emotion, panic spilling into his eyes. "Sarah, I swear," he started, but Claire's resolute stance interrupted him. "No more swearing," Claire said firmly, her eyes burning with urgency. "This is about accountability, about acknowledging the facts, not just your feelings." Sarah's throat tightened. "What happened to Emily?" The question slipped out, soft but laced with an urgent demand for answers. The crowd leaned in, eager yet nervous, sensing the storm brewing. Claire moved closer, lowering her voice as if sharing a secret. That night, Emily wasn't just a victim, she was involved in something bigger. She paused, gauging Sarah's reaction. Jason wasn't the only one who made choices that sealed her fate. A chill raced down Sarah's spine. Each new revelation felt like pulling a thread that might unravel their entire lives. "What does that mean?" She wanted to say more, demand more, but couldn't form the words. Jason stepped forward, desperation bleeding into his tone. "You don't know what you're asking, Claire. Don't drag Sarah into this. This isn't just about what happened. It's about protecting her." "Protecting her?" Claire shot back, her voice sharp like glass. "You've already broken that trust with your lies. The truth will hurt, yes, but it's the only way she can move forward." The crowd seemed to shift, eyes darting between Claire and Jason, tension mounting in an unspeakable way. Sarah felt the weight of their stares pressing down on her, amplifying her confusion. She wanted answers, not just for herself, but for the sister she lost, the family that had fallen apart, and for the man she loved who now felt like a stranger. "What did you do, Jason?" The question came out as a whisper, but it landed heavily in the charged atmosphere around them. "What did you do that night?" Jason's features crumpled, a mixture of anger and pain flashing across his face. "I tried to protect you. I did what I thought was right." Tears glistened in his eyes, desperation clawing at every word. "By lying to me?" Sarah's voice shook with disbelief. She turned toward Claire, her heart racing with the pull of betrayal. "Tell me." Claire took a breath, steadying herself as the crowd fell silent again, all eyes fixated on the moment of truth. Emily was reckless that night. She had a few drinks and was distracted. But so was Jason. He was supposed to be the one to watch out for her. Jason shook his head vehemently. "No, that's not true. It wasn't my fault." The agony rippling through him mirrored Sarah's own tumultuous emotions. Claire pressed on, her voice unwavering. "But instead of owning up to it, you buried the truth, Jason. Emily paid the price." A sob escaped Sarah's throat as the weight of realization hit her. She felt frozen, caught between love and anger, wanting to comfort Jason while needing to shield herself from the raw pain of betrayal. "What do you want me to do?" Jason's voice cracked, the fight visibly draining from him. "I can fix this. I'll fix everything. But can you? Claire asked, her eyes fixed on him, determined. Can you fix what you've broken? The question hung in the air, thickening the tension. No one moved, breaths held in anticipation. Sarah looked at Jason, then back to Claire, her mind racing. Could love withstand the truth? Or would it shatter under the weight of their intertwined pasts? A part of her yearned for Jason to explain, yet another part was terrified of what that explanation might reveal. Claire took a step back, her expression softening, almost pleading. Sarah, you deserve the truth. You deserve a chance to grieve for your sister properly, to understand everything that happened that night. As Jason's gaze fell, defeated, Sarah felt a surge of resolve. I want to know what really happened that night. The crowd exhaled collectively, the intensity of Sarah's words ricocheting through the air. What if knowing the truth changes everything? Jason asked, his face strained with raw vulnerability. I'm already changed, Sarah replied, her voice steady, certainty rising within her as she embraced the inevitable truth. But I need to know for myself, and for Emily. The room thrummed with anticipation once more, the moment of reckoning looming just ahead. Could they survive the truth? Or was this the final unraveling of everything they had known? As Sarah's words hung in the air, a heavy silence enveloped them all, shattered only by the faint whispers circulating through the crowd. Jason looked at her with a mixture of gratitude and despair, eyes pleading for understanding, as Claire stepped forward, ready to unveil the truth. It wasn't just Emily. He was there too, Claire said, nodding toward Jason with a hint of anger. They were both reckless that night, playing around with fate. They were supposed to be watching out for each other, but something took over, and the party spiraled out of control. Sarah's heart raced. The pieces of the past she'd been unwilling to confront were now laid bare, raw and unyielding. How could this happen? She whispered, fighting back tears as her focus turned to Jason. I thought we could just forget it. I thought if I acted like everything was fine, you'd never have to feel this pain, he admitted, guilt crashing into him like a tidal wave. Pain shot through her. The anger and hurt that had simmered within her for so long now began to bubble to the surface. Forget it, she exclaimed, her voice rising. You deceived me. For 4 years, Jason, you built a life on this lie. I thought it would protect you, he insisted, desperation creeping back into his voice. I thought if we could create a happy family, it would shield us from everything that happened before. I thought, maybe it would ease the pain. The sadness in his eyes nearly broke her heart again. A lie can't erase the past, Jason. It just festers. I'm sorry, he cried, anguish spilling free. I was scared. Scared of losing you. Scared of the judgment. Scared of being exposed for a past I could never outrun. So I hid it instead. I didn't want to drag you into my mess. Just then, Sarah's phone buzzed violently in her pocket, cutting through the raw moment. The crowd began to murmur again, and she hesitated, feeling like a marionette with tangled strings. She pulled it out and glanced at the screen, her heart plunging as she read the message from her friend. You've got to see this. Breaking news. It's about Jason. The air thickened around her. What now? She asked, heart racing as panic began to suffocate her. Sarah, don't look, Jason murmured, a wild look creasing his features. But curiosity took hold. With shaky fingers, she clicked the headline and read the shocking gist. Community member implicated in local incident. How far will the lies go? It was a follow-up, showing footage of the confrontation, leaving Jason even further exposed. Tears filled her eyes. This isn't just about us anymore. It's out there. Everything you tried to shield me from. Everyone is watching, Jason. But even through the chaos, Jason stepped closer, an unyielding fire in his heart. I'll fix this, Sarah. Together we can control the narrative. We'll face it all together. You have to trust me. How can I trust after everything? The thoughts spun in her mind like a whirlwind. But as she saw him standing there, vulnerable yet resilient, she felt a flicker of something she was desperate to cling to. Hope. Maybe, she said, but only if you promise me one thing. What? He replied, hope lighting up his face. Full honesty, no more lies. Not to me, not to Emily, not to anyone. If we're doing this, we face it all, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Perhaps it was the right path. Maybe facing the truth would foster healing, and some kind of redemption. I promise. I swear to you. Jason's proclamation came out strong and firm, enough to silence his doubts. And just like that, the crowd erupted, emotions spilling over. The tension melted a little, but the seriousness of the situation still loomed large. The decision before them required more than just words. It required action, commitment. Holding Jason's gaze, Sarah felt a rush of clarity. Then let's go. Let's tell them everything. Together. As they walked toward the podium, hand in hand, witnesses to their tumultuous history, the uncertainty morphed into collective strength. The crowd surged forward, anticipating the unfolding truth. Onlookers readied their cameras, not just for sordid details, but for a resolution, an evolution. Facing the sea of familiar strangers, Sarah held on to Jason's hand tighter, grounding her heart through the storm. We're here not just to recount our mistakes, but to reclaim who we are, together as a family. We're ready. With every heartbeat, Sarah sensed the shift of energies blossoming around them. Would it be enough to herald a new beginning, one built on transparency rather than deception? The crowd murmured again, but this time, anticipation swirled not just around them but within. They were more than the shadows of their past. They would fight to become the architects of their brighter future. In the face of adversity, could they transform their love into a beacon of truth and trust, guiding them toward a new chapter? As the questions loomed, one thing became clear. They weren't stepping into the unknown alone anymore. The tide had turned. They would face what awaited them head-on, reclaiming their narrative with hope. Together, they would uncover the story waiting to be written, arms entwined, hearts open to the journey ahead. And soon in the crowd, the murmurs would fade, transformed into a symphony of redemption. But Sarah knew this was just the beginning. Real change, true healing, had only just begun to unfold. Now it's your turn to take action. You need to subscribe now to catch all the exclusive stories coming your way. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below how you felt about this powerful ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support means the world.